Okay, well, good morning from Vermont, and it's a cold one. We're looking at below freezing, but we've got a real good week coming up. This is the driveway of Harold's neighbour, and we are following Harold. Well, we thought we were. We think we've lost him. He went this way. So follow us, guys, as we go over to see an expert tap the trees, and then we're coming back. This is Sunday. We're coming back on the middle of the week, or Thursday, when the weather's pick of the week is Thursday. We're looking at temperatures here of maybe 60, 65, which is 12, 13, 14, 15 degrees C. So follow us, guys, as we go to see the trees being tapped. And just in front of us you can see the nylon piping that's hooked up to some of the trees here, and that red container there is collecting the sap. So follow me and I'll meet you over there. Okay, here we are, guys. We're with Harold and my wife's brother Ronnie. Morning, guys.
Hey.
He's just selected this tree for tapping, and he's going to tell you a little bit about it as he goes along. So thank you very much, first of all, Harold, for inviting us over. That's really neat. The guys will love this back home. We'll leave it to the expert. Away you go.
Okay. On the buckets we use a 7/16 drill, 2 inches, 2.5 inches deep, on a slight angle.
Okay.
And you pick the sunny side of the tree.
Okay.
So I'll start drilling.
So Harold's going to show us how to drill the tree to get the tap in. The tree's frozen as well, I think. Okay.
Then we put a tap with a hook in.
Okay, so here's our tap.
Yep.
If you can just hold that up, Harold, so they can have a look at it before it goes in. So it's a little galvanized, tapered
for the bucket.
For the bucket.
Now where did I drill that hole?
Right by your finger there. By the way, everyone, we're standing on about a foot of ice, snow and ice, and if we disappear through, you'll know why.
Okay.
Okay, so he's inserting the tap.
And then tap it in.
Okay.
Now we're ready for the bucket.
Now we're going to get the bucket, so
you grab the bucket. I'll grab the bucket.
Okay, so Harold's hanging the bucket, and that's the cover to stop any bad weather going in.
This tree's big enough for 2 buckets.
Okay, so we're going to fit a second bucket.
And we're going to go over and lower so they're not in line.
Okay. So in goes the second drill. And Ron is getting the second bucket ready. In goes the tap.
Like it? No. That's an old one. I did it.
Now you can't use the same poles every year?
No.
So they just kind of heal up?
A healthy tree, these holes will heal up.
Okay. There we go. Trying to get a good shot here of the bucket going on. I can see the tap perfectly there. Put the lid on. Voila.
That tree's all set.
So that tree's all set. So follow us guys as we move on. Here we are putting in a second or third bucket actually. Second one on the second tree. How many buckets have you got to put in total, Harold?
50.
50 buckets. And then the work begins to come and empty them all.
Okay.
So that's pretty
You
neat.
do that every day, basically?
All depends on how it's running.
Okay. And how long is the season, Harold?
Roughly 4 weeks.
4-week season. So it's a lot of work, but hopefully the end result will be very good too.
It's what they call a love of labor.
A love of labour, that's magic. That's beautiful.
Okay.
Okay, so that's it. So we'll follow us guys and we'll show you a little bit more.
Okay.
Okay guys, Harold's going to tell you a little bit about the more modern approach to this collecting of sap. So over to you, Harold.
These are plastic lines. They call it a vacuum system because there's no opening on this. And you drill the 1964 hole in the tree right down the line, and it all runs into this bucket. So it makes it a lot easier collecting it. I don't have to go from bucket to bucket to bucket. I can just pump it out of this tank into my big tank. It makes it a lot easier. So
Okay, so we're going to drill this the same way as we did the metal ones?
yeah, we're using a 1964 drill instead.
Okay.
They used to use the 7/16, but they found they can get 85% as much out of the small one, and you can do 2 holes instead of 1 and less damage to the tree.
Is that right? Interesting. Yep.
The tree will heal a lot faster.
Okay.
Let me get my hammer.
So he's just going to get the little hammer to tap it home when he's drilled the hole. Ronnie's on the camera today, and we'll talk about that later, whether it comes out well.
Yeah, we'll see.
Okay, so Harold's drilled the hole.
Now we
Now he's going to insert the...
put this in the hole
Okay.
and tap it in. Let's get my hand out of the way.
And it's just a gentle tap, like that.
That one's all set.
Okay. Do you ever get any problems, Harold, with it not flowing right and you have to come and look at it, or does it just naturally find its way down?
The only problem I used to have is the deer.
The deer. Trying to drink it?
They'd run through it and break it.
Oh, they break the pipes, yeah. Okay. All right, that was great.
We'll put another one over here.
Okay.
This is the benefit of the smaller tap. Normally you put 1 bucket here, but now you can do 2.
Okay.
Now these are the same thing, Harold, right? You want them different heights? You want one lower than the other one, right?
Yeah, you try to offset them a little bit.
Okay. So you can get that on film there, Ronnie?
Yep, I'm getting it.
That's
There.
great. Well, thank you, Harold. We'll move on to the next one. Here's Harold coming back from over the street on the Kubota and taking us into the sugar building, which is in front of him there on the right, so we can learn about how he makes 50 gallons of maple syrup. Yep. Okay, Harold, we're back over at your house, and you're going to tell us a little bit about the tank.
It's the tank and wagon that goes behind my tractor. It holds 110 gallons of sap. I have a gas pump that I take with me. And when I come back, I reverse the pump, and I pump it up into that stainless steel tank up there.
Okay, Ronnie may be able to zoom in and show you that tank up there. And what does that hold, Harold?
That holds about 250 gallons.
About 250 gallons of sap.
And I fill that up sometimes.
And he fills it up, and then it's gravity fed down into your
There's
processor.
a flow on my evaporator that controls the flow. I can set it for what I want,
Okay.
basically.
Okay. So it's a lot of hard work for you, Harold.
Oh, it is.
Yeah, like a labor of love, as you said. It's and how many years have you been doing it?
God, 30 years.
30 years. Wow. Yeah.
The other thing, I still do everything the old-fashioned way they did in the old days. I don't use this modern stuff.
Right.
And a lot of people have said that they feel I have a better flavor in my sap.
Right, right.
And they extract the water.
Yep.
And everything else. They use vacuum pumps to suck the sap out. I do everything the old way. I burn with wood. And a lot of people have said they like my syrup better.
Yeah, that's understandable. Old is a good tested method, right?
Pardon?
The old-fashioned way is a good tested method.
Well, that's what the old farmers did. In the spring, there's not much to do, so they made syrup.
Right.
And then what a lot of them would do, I wish I had the recipe, when they dropped down to a B grade on the sap, they would collect it and make beer.
Wow.
Sap.
There you go.
The sap. And some
Yeah.
of the old timers could really make it good.
Yeah.
I never heard of it.
So this is going to be really interesting for everyone back in the United Kingdom because they don't have sap there. They buy it in the supermarket to put on the pancakes. And maybe it comes from Vermont. We'll have to ask them and see what their comments are. So thank you, Ronnie, for the camera work today. You can we're moving to next door. So we've just swapped sides in the syrup processing plant, and this is where the syrup will come down from the tank, which is over there. Ronnie can probably show you up there, and it's gravity fed
Down into
down. And I'll let Harold tell you something about what happens then when he's got the sap coming down.
This is a float in here, and I can control the flow coming in. Because I like to boil it about 1.25 to 1.5 inches deep. And there's a bunch of slots in here. And it comes in and it goes up and down the slots. Meanwhile, it's boiling all the time. And when it gets over to here, you can see the color and you can smell the maple syrup in it. It actually smells real nice in here when I'm in full bore.
I bet, yeah.
In that.
Which we'll come over and hopefully see on Thursday maybe.
Then we draw the sap off here into a pan I have. And then here I use two filters, a felt filter and a cloth filter. I have a heater. I pour the sap in and it filters through and gets all the impurities out of it.
Right.
And it gets hot enough so when I bottle it, it'll seal.
Yeah. The packaging, Harold, must be costly for you to package the end product.
Well, not that bad. I mean, the jugs cost a little.
Yeah,
bit,
yeah.
The price of them go up every year.
And they can be returned and reused, obviously. If,
Well, not if I'm selling it to the public.
okay, okay.
What I do is the ones that people give me back, I clean them and I give them to my children.
Okay, okay.
Friends.
Yeah. Well, that's great. So next time we're in this building, maybe next week, we've just got to wait for the sap to run. We can see this. This will be called an evaporator, right? An evaporator?
An evaporator.
Yeah, and then we can see it actually in full steam.
Up here, you probably can't see it, but there's a figure goes up, a little house. I open the sides and it lets the steam out.
Okay.
And believe me, there's a lot of steam that goes out of here.
Yeah. Ron is actually going to bring the camera over and just give you a view down into the evaporator to show you the channels.
Steam goes out.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we'll show that probably in a minute from there, and then he can show you the evaporator.
Right. These are the actual channels.
Yeah, and there's your gravity feed coming down, and as Harold said, the float, so he can get the level. And that's great. Well, thank you again, Harold, for inviting us. Appreciate it.
So this will all be cleaned up nice. I have 409. I wash everything down good.
Yeah. We're going to do a part 1 and a part 2 for this process of making the syrup. Today is mainly showing you the preparation of the buckets, and he's got a lot of work to do, I'm sure, getting this all tidied up, cleaned up, and hopefully he's got the firewood in. So that's another costly item for you.
Well, a lot of people have seen it. They say, "Oh, you must make out good for what you get for a gallon."
Right, right.
But they don't realize how much time is spent cutting wood.
Yeah, yeah.
How much time is spent putting up the bucket.
Yeah.
In the lines. And then when you're done, you gotta scrub every bucket. You gotta flush the lines out. You got to scrub this out,
Yeah.
and in the big tank, I have to get up in there and scrub that out.
Yeah.
Because you'd be surprised the film of
Yeah.
stuff gets in there.
Yeah.
So it takes me 2 days to shut down, and it takes me a couple of days to get going, and then all the time in the summer cutting firewood for it.
Well, I think you should involve Ronnie and myself coming over to give you a hand so that all this works. So we'll end right there. We'll put some pictures together for you guys, and thank you, Ronnie, for pressing the buttons.